As of July 26, 2024, SAG-AFTRA has been on an ongoing strike with the gaming industry. As many companies have signed SAG's proposals on AI protection, there are a few major companies who are refusing. While 90% of SAG agreed to the vote, few performers were against the strike. One of those is actor and voice director Elias Tofaxis. In this clip, Elias discusses the thought process behind his initial vote and how his no went to a yes. Now I want to talk about that honesty, go deeper into that honesty because, of course, currently, before we get into your accomplishments in the gaming industry, there is a strike against the gaming industry right now. And I saw on your Twitter that you voted no to the strike. You've been, and that surprised me for a few reasons because you're so supportive of actors, you're so supportive of the industry, but I've just noticed that you have talked about a lot of the downfalls of what's happening with the gaming industry right now. The people have picked up a lot of your quotes on what you said about acting, of course, with the canceled Deus Ex game. You talked about how they told you stop talking about Adam Jensen. Like you've talked about the, which is so crazy to me. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? That's so crazy to me. I think that's probably like your biggest character, and you can't even like stop talking about. Like people love Adam Jensen, you know.
Yeah, they were mad. They were a little mad at me, but I didn't care. I was like, I'm not going to stop talking about the guys. Sorry, but it's just. Sorry, finish your question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. But what I was gonna ask is, why did you vote no? Like, what went into your conscience about? Sure. Like, what happened? Like, what went into that decision?
I don't want to get into specifics because it reveals a little bit of information that I don't want to reveal because they would kind of undermine what SAG is trying to do, what the video game people are trying to do. So I won't get super specific as to why I voted no. Vaguely, it had a lot to do with timing. It had a lot to do with ground to stand on. Like, what we want to strike against is important, AI, right? Mostly. But the ground we had to stand on wasn't strong enough. When they called for the vote for the strike, that has changed. But at the time, which was over a year ago, it was like almost 2 years ago now when they called for the strike originally.
I remember, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, not 2 years ago, but it was definitely over a year ago. And I said, this is not a good idea. First of all, the timing's really bad. Second of all, just like speaking as a father and a guy who has to pay bills, like I just came off of a actor and writer strike that killed me in terms of money, like how much money I wasn't making. And now you're literally asking me to piggyback off of that strike and do another strike, which is the other half of my income. And you're like, that's a lot. That's a lot to ask, right? So there was that there. That was more of a selfish reason. But there was also the time. So those had to do with the timing a little bit. But also the ground that we had to stand on, I didn't think was very strong. Now, in the past year, to their credit, they have built that ground up a lot stronger. So what the SAG group has done, Sarah and them, Zeke and those guys, what they have done is the problems I had with the strike, with what they were going to, with not having enough ground to stand on, they have given, again, I'm trying to be vague, but they have given the option for that ground to be, they have given us the option for that ground to be stronger.
More stability, would you say?
More stability in our strength to strike. That's the best way to put it.
Okay.
Because I didn't think we had a very strong, not a very strong case. We had a very strong case against AI, but I didn't think we had a very strong case of you can't do this without us. I had a lot of anxiety about them going, well, we kind of can. You know, it's not like the on-camera strike, but they have since fixed that with a whole bunch of little initiatives and things like that. They fixed it, and that's what I wrote the other day, which was like, I voted no, but to their credit, everything that I had a problem with, they fixed. I now back the strike. Not that even though I voted no, I would have scabbed or anything. Most definitely, we're on strike. We're on strike. I may not agree with it, but I'm not going to go scab a game, right? But also, it's not a blanket strike. There are a lot of rules, like There are games that I have started on before the strike that they don't get struck against because we had a deal before the strike started. There are games that have signed the interim agreement, obviously, that don't get struck against. The meeting I have right after this is an interim agreement game. So they're not struck against. It's not as dire as the other strike, but there are 2 or 3 big companies that need to get their shit together, and so now I'm fully on board with. To their credit, man. To their credit, because trust me, before we struck, I talked to all of the SAG people 3 or 4 times. I would have long conversations with them, going, "It's a bad idea, guys. It's a bad idea." 98% of SAG disagreed with me. I still think at the time I was right, but they fixed it. So they were right overall.
As someone who's worked with companies, and when you see a company you've worked with go on the strike list, how does that make you feel on a personal level? Not just only as a performer, but it's like you've worked with these companies, you give it your all. And I'm just asking this for some people who might not understand why their strike is necessary and what is going on. How does that feel like personally?
Yeah, I mean, the difference is it's not really. It's like that's like saying, like I worked on Star Trek, but the head of Paramount is doing something shady. I never met the head of Paramount. I'm never going to meet the head of Paramount. But I work on Star Trek. But all the creatives that I worked on Star Trek with, they're all great. It's the same thing with games. Like Warner Brothers or Disney, those are 2 companies that are being struck against. The people that I work with are all like confined to the game. So they're all great people. It's the head that I'm never going to meet. He has the problem. So I'm like, well, F them. Like fix your thing. Fix the thing, or we're not going to work for you. So it's not really like I'm insulted by them. They're business people. They're just doing whatever they think is good for their business. And yes, it's going to screw over actors if they don't sign the interim agreement. And then they're going to lose a bunch of good actors, and they're going to have to go non-union. And even the non-union people now which is one of the things that they've kind of really got a hold of, SAG, is the non-union people are like, they're saying to the non-union, come with us, and we'll give you incentives to come with us and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's really what it is. It's the head people. It's not the people I work with. So there's no insult really, aside from the general insult of like,
right, you're literally,
yeah.
I just saw that tweet you were talking about with the CEO of, what was it? It was EA, right?
It was EA,
yeah, there we go. Which, okay,
yeah.
yes.
I mean, look, there's gonna be AI. There's already AI. This was another kind of thing that I had an issue with when we first started the talk of the strike is, I'm like, well, what do you mean by no AI? Like, I need specifics before I vote yes. Because there's AI mixed in with, there's AI to clean up data. There's AI to clean up performance capture performances. They use AI and all this kind of stuff. So when you tell a company no AI, like what specifically do you mean? And when we were in the early stages of the strike, like that wasn't clear either. Again, they've since cleared that up. So there's always going to be AI. So I was having a little bit of fun with that, like fuck off, dude, with the AI thing. But I don't really know what he means. It's just he's just latching onto buzzwords. Like AI is important to technology, so we're going to put it in our games, even though he probably has no idea what it actually means.